Attention passionate Detroit, Lions fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Detroit Lions' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Detroit Lions fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Detroit Lions fans. Let's get to the news. Hey Lions fans, get ready because what we're about to talk about could be a game changer, not just for this season, but for the future of the NFC North and perhaps even the entire NFC. The Detroit Lions, a team that's been on the rise for a few seasons now, has just faced a significant hurdle, and it's all happening after that thrilling victory over the Cleveland Browns. Yes, the Lions came out with a W, but the celebration was tempered by some serious injuries in the secondary, injuries that could have long-lasting implications. And as we all know, in the NFL, depth and resilience are just as crucial as talent and strategy. So what's the latest? Let's dig into it. In that game against Cleveland, the Lions' defense showed resilience, especially considering the adversity they faced with key players going down. Cornerbacks Terrion Arnold and DJ Reed, both integral parts of Detroit's secondary, had to leave the field due to injuries. Now, Arnold's situation isn't expected to be long-term, but DJ Reed's injury looks more serious. The coaching staff, along with the medical team, was visibly concerned, and head coach Dan Campbell didn't sugarcoat the situation when he said Reed could be down for a while. That's a tough blow for Detroit, especially considering how critical the cornerback position is in today's NFL, where explosive offenses and dynamic receivers are the norm. Reed, for those who follow the team closely, has been a solid contributor this season, and losing him temporarily could impact the Lions' defensive schemes moving forward. But the real concern here is the possibility of a long-term absence. If Reed's injury turns out to be more serious, the Lions will need to act quickly to fill this void. And that's exactly where things get interesting. You see, the Lions have a history of being resourceful and strategic when it comes to roster moves, especially mid-season. They've already shown that they're willing to look at familiar faces and potential upgrades to their secondary. And now, reports suggest they might turn to an unlikely source, their recent opponent, the Cleveland Browns, and specifically Browns cornerback Greg Newsome. This isn't just idle speculation. There are insiders hinting that the Lions could pursue a trade for Newsome, a player with considerable talent but also some injury concerns. Newsome, a former first-round pick, is currently in his fifth year with Cleveland, and he's playing on his fifth-year option worth around $13 million this season. That's a significant investment, and it's clear the Browns see him as an important part of their future, but with Detroit's need for immediate help, that could change. Now let's talk about why Newsome makes sense for the Lions. He's a talented coverage corner, capable of matching up against the league's best receivers. His skill set fits well with Detroit's defensive scheme, which relies heavily on man coverage and aggressive playmaking from the secondary. Moreover, he's experienced, having played in a variety of situations and against top-tier competition. But of course, there's a catch. Newsome has had injury issues in the past, missing at least 3 games every year of his career. That's a red flag, but it's also something teams weigh when considering a trade. The Lions are known for their depth-building approach, especially under Dan Campbell's leadership. They emphasize resilience and next-man-up mentality. So, if they decide that acquiring Newsome is the right move, they'll have to balance the potential reward against the injury risk. But what about the resources? Well, here's where things get a little tricky. Detroit doesn't have a third-round pick in 2026 because both their own pick and the compensatory pick they received for Aaron Glenn being hired by the Jets have already been traded. They did trade for Wr. Isaac T. Slaw with those picks. So, they only have their remaining picks in 2026, along with an extra 6th and 7th round pick. That's a limited arsenal compared to other teams, which means they might need to be creative or make some tough decisions to acquire a player like Newsome. And let's not forget, there will be other teams interested in Newsome. The Seahawks, for example, have been mentioned as a potential suitor, especially considering their need for secondary help. But Detroit's motivation is clear. They want to strengthen their defense for a playoff run, and with their current roster, they're just a few pieces away from being a serious contender. The secondary has been a strength for the Lions this season, with DJ Reader and other players stepping up. But now with the potential loss of Reed, they need to act fast. It's also worth noting that the Lions are not just looking at short-term fixes. They're building a team that can sustain success over multiple seasons. That's why they're so calculated about these moves. They want to add the right talent at the right price, and they're willing to be patient and strategic in the trade market. The fact that they're even considering Newsome, despite his injury history, shows how much they value his talent and how desperate they are to maintain their high level of play. Now, shifting back to the game itself, the injury to DJ Reed and Arnold's status has cast a shadow over the Lions' upcoming schedule. Campbell mentioned that Arnold might not be ready for this week's game against the Cincinnati Bengals, which raises the stakes even more. The Lions could be without two of their primary cornerbacks, which would put even more pressure on the secondary and the entire defense. But this is where the Lions' organizational culture shines. They pride themselves on depth, on player development, and on the ability to adapt quickly. Campbell emphasized that next man up is the mantra, and that the team has been preparing players all season to step in when needed. This mentality has served Detroit well, especially in recent years, as they've slowly built a roster that's both talented and resilient. Players like Jeff Riston from Lions Wire mentioned that the team has extra picks in 2026, which could be used as leverage in trades or to address immediate needs. And although the Lions might not have as many resources as some other teams, they've proven that they're capable of making smart moves, even under constraints. Looking ahead, the Lions' focus is on not just patching up their secondary, but also maintaining their momentum. They're sitting in a strong position in the NFC North, but everyone knows that injuries can be a turning point. The Green Bay Packers, Minnesota Vikings, and Chicago Bears are all lurking, trying to capitalize on any weakness. For Detroit, staying healthy and making savvy roster moves are critical. The potential acquisition of Newsome could be a signal that they're serious about not just making the playoffs but going deep, even if it means making a bold trade. This season has been a roller coaster for the Lions, but their trajectory is undeniable. Jared Goff has been playing at an elite level, and the offense has been firing on all cylinders. The defense, with players like DJ Reed and Arnold, has been solid, but injuries threaten to derail that momentum. If Detroit wants to keep their Super Bowl aspirations alive, they need to act swiftly and decisively. And let's not forget the bigger picture. The Lions are building a culture of resilience, adaptability, and smart decision-making. They're not just chasing a playoff spot, they're laying the groundwork for a franchise that's ready to compete at the highest level for years to come. The potential trade for Greg Newsome, if it happens, would be a statement move, showing that Detroit is all in this season, willing to do whatever it takes to maximize their chances. So, Lions fans, keep your eyes peeled. This story isn't over yet. The team's front office is closely monitoring the situation and exploring every option to ensure they remain competitive. The injuries in the secondary are a setback, but they could also be an opportunity to bring in fresh talent, to prove that Detroit's resilience runs deeper than any injury. And it's that resilience, that fighting spirit, that makes being a Lions fan so special. We've seen this team grow, overcome challenges, and reach new heights, and I believe they'll come out stronger from this. Remember, this isn't just about this week or this season. It's about building a legacy. The Lions are on the cusp of something big, and while setbacks happen, it's how they respond that will define their future. So stay tuned, keep rooting for your team, and get ready for what promises to be an exciting ride ahead. Because in Detroit, we don't just support a team, we support a movement, a family, a passion that's only getting stronger. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUBE algorithm to keep recommending the latest Detroit Lions news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, Detroit Lions fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on all of this? Do you believe the Lions will pull off a trade for Greg Newsome? How worried are you about the injuries in the secondary? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Lions. This team has always been about community, resilience, and pushing forward no matter the obstacle. Remember, I'll be back soon with more updates. so stay tuned for the latest Detroit Lions news. We're in this together, and I can't wait to see how this season unfolds. Lions fans, let's keep the faith, keep the passion alive, and let's make this a season to remember. Thanks for being part of this journey, and as always, go Lions.